Hello and welcome to Comics Tuesday. Happy holidays and Merry X-Men. What I'm getting at is this episode's going to be about X-Men. I'm going to start by just real briefly going through what the X-Men is. So, mutants. Born with an X gene, making them different from humans, are hated and feared. Developing powers generally in their teenage years, they're heavily discriminated against, and Professor Charles Xavier runs the Xavier Institute for Gifted Youngsters, where these kids go and on the down low they learn to use their powers. But when great threats arise to mutant or humankind, they band together and the X-Men are there to, save the day and stuff like that. And because of the nature of the story, this is perhaps the easiest comic book to make any metaphors and analogies that you want to out of it. You really can play the X-Men as though they are any real-life discriminated against group. And that's generally where their best stories come from. Okay, here's my confession. I don't know the majority of X-Men stories. And why is it that I can admit that? It's because, due to X-Men's massive popularity, it's impossible. They have a crazy number of titles. You gotta understand, the X-Men have been around since the 60s and have gone through multiple explosions in popularity and just availability of content. You have X-Men, Astonishing X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, All New X-Men, Extraordinary X-Men, Extreme X-Men. And I tried to make one up and I failed because that's a real thing. There's also X-Factor, X-Force, Exiles, X-Files, Uncanny Avengers, and also some solo books like Wolverine. So you hear that madness? There's no way to keep up with it all. No, the preferred thing is just pick one, jump on it, and if you like it, keep going. Personally, I started off with a cartoon. And this cartoon, back in the 90s, DC had the amazing Batman animated series. And so for Marvel to try to compete with it, they look at all their properties, and the one they come up with is X-Men, and that's the one they lead with. And this X-Men cartoon is just as amazing as the comics, and because I saw that as a child, I bled over into reading the comic books, and liked them too. Quick side note, X-Men Evolution and Wolverine and the X-Men are also good. And then you have the movies. Blade, X-Men, Spider-Man. In my opinion, those are the movies that made it okay to make a comic book movie that isn't the Dick Donner Superman, because they're all good. And from those X-Men movies, you had this long line of X-Men movies that are still being made. At this point, it's just ridiculous. You have 3 numbered movies, 2 Wolverine movies, a prequel, Days of Future Past, the upcoming Age of Apocalypse, Deadpool. And with those many movies all fitting together in the same timeline and or continuity, and most of them are good, it's just mind-boggling. It makes it a film series that is second only to Avengers. And so with anything that's great, of course, it's going to have imitators and lookalikes. So let's talk about some of those. I'm going to start off talking about DC's Teen Titans. Don't get upset. It's not because it's a ripoff, it's not. But what it is it's a similar book. It fills the same role in their fictional universes. In Teen Titans, you have a set of former sidekicks who band together, form a team, and they're not respected, and they're all kind of misfits, and they come together and make for a good team. Likewise, the X-Men takes place in the school. You have a bunch of teenagers, and that teenage drama with superpowers is fertile ground for good storytelling, and used to great effect in both titles. But now we're going to be talking about some that just are out-and-out ripoffs. You have Cyberforce from Top Cow, as well as Gen 13 from Wildstorm. And look, I'm not saying anything disparaging here at all. I love Top Cow comics. One of my favorites is Cyberforce. And Cyberforce is about a team of mutants with superpowers, including an angry guy with claws, a lady who can use her mind to project blades, and their dickish leader. So, it's X-Men. But this version of X-Men existing within the Top Cow universe is super interesting. And this series, Cyberforce, really proves that when a talented craftsman is lovingly imitating an existing good product, you get a new good product. And that's exactly what Cyberforce is. And similarly, Wildstorm has Gen 13. And this is a story of a bunch of kids whose parents were experimented on and given superpowers. So once they reach their teenage years, they become Gen Active, aka has the powers. And so once they have powers, they kind of go on the run and have nothing but each other to lean on. And this also got an animated version, which I saw some time ago, and it's really good. And now lastly, we have Marvel's own Inhumans. And you might ask, why would Marvel rip themselves off? And the unfortunate answer is movie money. You see, as long as Fox has the movie rights to X-Men, Marvel is going to be looking for a way to make movies out of X-Men stories without using the X-Men. And Inhumans work just fine for that. In the Inhumans story, you have people who appear to be just ordinary humans until they're exposed to the Terrigian mist, which activates their superpowers. And then feared and hated, team together, you know. Now, Inhumans has been around for a long time, though. But it's recently being turned more and more to play like X-Men. And it is established fact that there's plenty of good Inhuman stories. These are classic, beloved characters. But personally, I don't care. And I haven't read Inhumans. I don't have any interest in doing it. It's just not my thing. But whatever form you take it in, X-Men is awesome, and everyone can relate to these characters in at least one way, but frequently on multiple levels. At its heart, X-Men is about outsiders, people who are misunderstood, who come together because they're different, and through a lot of heroic acts, they form bonds, they become close, and they find their place they belong, surrounded by people who love and support them. And this holiday season, that's what we should all aspire to receive and give, that feeling of belonging, of accepting our differences, and looking at the way that we're all special. But that just about does it for this week. So now it's time for the viewer question of the week, which is this. Who's your favorite X-Men? My favorite is Rogue, because the best superpower is all the superpowers. Just leave your answer down in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and come back next time for Comics Tuesday. Next time on Comics Tuesday, what does Wolverine smell like? We'll find out next time. Happy Hanukkah.